Welcome to the Danny Clinkscale Reasonably Irreverent podcast. Insightful and witty commentary, probing interviews, and detours from the beaten path.
Welcome to Kansas City Profiles, presented by Easton Roofing. Joe Spiker and his great crew at Easton Roofing, the best people to see for your roofing needs. They're honest. Integrity is their hallmark, not only from the motto of their particular business, but also from the way they operate. You will not get the door knocker treatment from them. They will not try to do jobs that aren't necessary. Honesty, integrity, you can count on my friend Joe Spiker and his group at Easton Roofing. Contact them today. Find out some more on the information and the commercial to follow. Today we've got a conversation with Jimmy Nielsen, the former Sporting Kansas City goalkeeper. He and I share a birthday, August 6th. Not quite the same year, but that's about the only similarity between Jimmy Nielsen and me. A world-class professional athlete who was a star from an early age, became a great goalkeeper as a young player, signed up with an English team at the age of 12. When it came time for professional soccer, he could have gone over to play for England, but his mother wasn't ready to let him leave the homestead at that point in time, so he played for a long time in his home country of Denmark, won championships there, dabbled in English football as well, signed a big contract with Leicester City, although he never played there, and then came to the United States and found Kansas City and made it his home for 4 years, 4 spectacular years for Sporting, winning a U.S. Open Cup, winning a MLS Cup championship, and then retiring at the height of his powers after that championship. He is the all-time leader in goals against average in MLS. .99 is his career goals against average, but he also has an incredible tale to tell of overcoming obstacles, overcoming personal struggles, and coming out on the other side with a great story and an inspirational story to tell as well. He's funny, he's articulate, and he really is just a piece of work, as he'll indicate on more than one occasion during the course of this great conversation on Kansas City Profiles, presented by Easton Roofing, coming up next.
More of Danny's Reasonably Irreverent podcast after this.
I'm here with Joe Spiker, owner of Easton Roofing. And Joe, there's all kinds of roofing companies in Kansas City. People see their trucks, they see their ads, they see their commercials on TV. What separates you out from the pack?
Danny, you know, there's a lot of roofers in Kansas City that are good roofers that can put a good roof on, but we like to pride ourselves on giving you a good customer service experience. From the first time you call, you're going to get a friendly voice on the phone. We're going to let you know what's happening and when it's happening. And, you know, the other piece is some companies are small enough to do small jobs. Some companies are big enough to do big jobs. You know, we're right there in the middle. We can handle the little stuff. We can handle your repairs all the way up to your big commercial roofs.
So what's the best way for folks to get in touch with you at Easton Roofing?
You can find us at eastonroofing.com, or you can always call us at 913-257-5426. That's 913-257-5426.
Easton Roofing. Integrity matters. Cinematic Visions has been an affordable solution for professional media production in Kansas City since 2003, offering award-winning video production and creation, as well as a wide array of digital and social media management services. From planning, scripting, filming, editing, and post-production, to delivering your product to a watching world, Cinematic Visions will provide professional and affordable services for you and your business with the necessary return on investment to make it all worthwhile. Cinematic Vision's goal is to unlock the power of storytelling through video and a strong online presence for your company. Beyond the numbers, they want to inspire and evoke your clients to feel and act. Let my friends at Cinematic Visions embed your brand where it belongs, in your customers' minds. You can find them online at cinematicvisions.com or with a quick phone call at 816-600-6300. Let's have a brief conversation with David Schmidt from Pro Millennial. David, what differentiates you from other financial organizations?
I would say the passion we have for seeing our clients succeed is probably paramount to what we do here. There's no joy greater than watching a client accumulate wealth. I had a client that I've had for many years was able to buy his dream warehouse. Nothing too extravagant, but we had a savings plan in place and was able to see him fulfill his dreams.
And what else motivates you in this industry?
Well, lately it's been finding out inconsistencies in the marketplace, ferreting out some more than questionable ideas out there that what we're seeing with Bitcoin and a few of these other cryptocurrencies right now. I'm of the opinion where if it's untraceable, it really needs to be regulated in a big way right now.
To get more information and advice from David, visit promillennial.com or call 816-221-7775. That's 816-221-7775. We're here once again with Dr. Brad Woodle from Advanced Sports and Family Chiropractic and Acupuncture. Springtime, good weather's finally here. People want to stay active, and it's your job to make sure that they can stay active, and be healthy.
Danny, we see a lot of not just weekend warriors, but people that every day are having that want to get back to activity. Whether you're starting with walking, jogging, or maybe that first 5K of the year, we want to help you out. We specialize in taking care of all ages, from kids all the way to grandmas and grandpas, but absolutely specialize in getting you back to full function and keeping you in great shape.
So in short, how do we go about doing that?
The first thing is to schedule a consultation with one of our doctors and therapists so we can see how you move and how you're supposed to move. Based on our assessment, we can put together a short treatment plan and a set of goals to help you both feel better, function better, and most importantly, stay better for this year and many years to come.
Learn more at asfca.com/Danny. That's asfca.com/Danny. If you'd like to join these and other great sponsors and market your business to a growing and engaged audience, contact us at Danny@DannyKlinkscale.com. Look forward to hearing from you. Jimmy, you were born in Aalborg, Denmark, or you'll probably pronounce it slightly differently and better, but it's a pretty big place. It's a city of over 200,000. Describe what it's like to grow up in that part of the world.
Oh, I had an absolutely blast and amazing childhood growing up in Aalborg. Very, very safe place. Went to school, grew up with my friends, playing soccer day in and day out. And in a very early age, soccer became serious for me. And when I was 12 to 15, almost every single Friday, I flew to England to participate in Norwich City's academy, Friday, Saturday, and Sundays. And then I'll fly back to Denmark and be in school the rest of the week. And my life were soccer driven. When my local team, Aalborg BK, were playing, I was the first person in the stadium at every single home game. I was basically standing as the first person outside the gate and waited for that to be open so I can get my spot behind the goal and watch the goalkeepers warm up. And that was more actually a highlight for me, just to see the goalkeepers warm up than actually the game. And I don't know why. But, I couldn't ask for a better place and a better childhood. It was absolutely a blast.
Tell me about your parents a little bit. And did you have any siblings?
I do. I have a brother and a sister, mom and dad. They were in the restaurant business.
Mm-hmm.
And as a very young kid, I was basically neighbor with my grandmother. So spent half of my childhood with her. Could basically go from house to house, and that was fantastic and very comfortable having her so close. And she also became a big supporter of me with my soccer. My brother played a little bit as well. Actually ended up signing a pro contract, but had to retire at a very early age because of injuries.
Tell me, when obviously you start playing the sport, when did you gravitate towards being a keeper?
I was 4 years old when I started playing soccer as an outfield player at the big club, Aalborg.
Right.
I got hit in the face with the ball and didn't play anymore. I didn't want to play anymore. And in Denmark, you start school when you're 6, and started school and playing soccer in recess with all my friends. And they're all saying, I got to come to the small local club and play with them. I said I didn't want to play soccer anymore. I would only play if I could be the goalkeeper, and you already had a goalkeeper. And then one day in school, 6 years old. My friends came running up to me like early morning before class and said, "The goalkeeper, stop! The goalkeeper, stop! We got a spot for you." And I joined there, being the goalkeeper, with the idea of not getting hit in the face with the ball again. What I, of course, didn't know back then was that's probably the position where you get the ball most in your face.
Right.
But I had the idea that I could protect my face with the hands. But I can, of course, looking back, that was a little bit naive. But that's how I ended being a goalkeeper.
When you were 10 years old, you were called up to the front of a classroom and asked to write down what your professional ambitions were, and 3 times you wrote professional soccer player. And your teacher called your parents and said, maybe he needs to broaden his horizons a little bit, but obviously you were focused, and it ended up working out just fine.
I know. I remember clearly that day when I had to write that on the board, and my teacher kind of lost it a little bit at me and told me I gotta wake up and be a part of the real world. When my parents got called down to the school, and we had to evaluate basically what I was writing on the wall, professional soccer player, and she also had to address that was spelled completely wrong. But she said, basically, if I put the same energy in school like I did in soccer, I had a fair chance to be the president of the country. But I think there's 5.7 million people in Denmark right now who's pretty lucky that I didn't study more in school than I did. But, soccer were what I wanted, and in my books there was drawing tactics and scores, and it was just what were driving me constantly, and I constantly were on my bike with the ball on the back of me, and I had a dog as well that followed me around. He was running and chasing me around the whole city wherever I could find a pickup game in any parks, and the dog will lie there next to me and watch me play.
Give our listeners some idea of what your home country of Denmark is like. It's south of maybe some of the other Scandinavian nations that people might identify as Scandinavian nations, basically in the same latitude as England is. What are the seasons like? What's the weather like? What's it like in Denmark?
We get 4 very clear seasons. Winters very, very cold. Summer is pretty short, but absolutely amazing. We'll get around the 75 to 80 for about 2 months. And I think you'll see every single Danish person will be outside and enjoy those 2 months, and everyone will get a barbecue and get to the beaches and take advantage of that good weather, because in the wintertime, and I'm not saying it's depressing, but the sun gets up at 9 and it gets down at 2, 3 p.m.
Wow.
There's not a lot of sun in the wintertime. So people are really, really taking advantage of the summertime. Falls and spring, of course. Fall, very windy, rainy. Spring, that's a little bit hit or miss.
Right.
But those 2 months in the summertime is, of course, the big time highlight for all the Danes. And actually, at this time here right now, it's very, very beautiful in Denmark, and the beaches are packed, even with the COVID.
You signed with Norwich City or joined their club at the age of 12. They came to town to play some youth matches, and I don't know what happened to their keeper, but they needed a keeper, and you obviously impressed them and joined that team. How did that happen?
Yeah, well, Norwich came to play a big youth tournament in Denmark, and the goalkeeper got hurt, and they were asking the host of the tournament if he knew any good goalkeepers who could be available. And at that point, I still played for the very, very small local team, and we didn't qualify for the tournament or had the money to buy into the tournament. And he said, I think there's one. And my dad came and asked if I wanted to participate. He had a phone call in this tournament. I had to play for another team called Norwich City. I'm sure I'll join in. And ended up going all the way, and it went really well for me. I got goalkeeper of the tournament, and I got player of the tournament. And after that, I got the invitation to come in and see what Norwich City were like. And every single little holiday or long weekends or even regular weekends or on the bigger holidays, I would join the team everywhere in the world and play tournaments. And I was participating in the regular league, well, for U12, 13, and 15. And when I turned 15, they wanted to sign me on an academy contract, and I had to move over there and live with a host family. I remember clearly when I landed with that contract in my hand. That was a very, very proud moment. But what I also do remember, that's probably the biggest fight between my parents that I have ever experienced in the car. My dad, of course, wanted me to go, but my mom, she was not ready for me to leave the house yet. 2 years later, I got the opportunity from to finish that story, I ended up not going. And they wanted me there full time. I couldn't continue to do what I did. But what I did, I moved to the big club, Aalborg BK. And as soon as I came in there, I joined the U16 national team and played on the U17 national team. And I think we played Scotland. And after the game, a scout from Millwall came up and asked if I had any interest to join their team. And long story short, I ended up signing a 5-year deal with Millwall in the age of just turned 17, and moved over there. And I was just there for just over a year. It wasn't what I expected, but when I look back again, it was probably the best thing there ever could happen to me. It was a very, very tough environment. Everything I experienced afterwards was a piece of cake for me. Tough coaches, tough fans, anything. I was prepared in a very early age for that after my experience in England. So a young boy became quickly a young man. And I think I benefited from that during my career.
So you moved back home and you signed up with your hometown club and stayed there for a long, long time and had great success.
Yeah, I played for them for 12 years. If I'm allowed to brag a little bit, for those 12 years, I never missed a game.
Wow.
Not one. I played 398 games in a row over 12 years. And then another opportunity came for me to move to England, and I joined Leicester City, which was a little weird looking back, but it was tough to turn down. But I got signed by a sporting director before there was a coach hired.
Mm-hmm.
And as soon as the coach got hired, he fired the sporting director. and then it was just down the hill for me,
Right.
I think it was less than a week into my time in Leicester, they already told me they didn't want me there. So that became, of course, annoying, but it was also a contract of my life financially.
Right.
And of course, I didn't want just to give up on that. And I had to suck up and be there for a little bit of time till we find a solution to split apart. And we split apart, and then I joined another Danish team for a short time before Kansas City came in the picture. And I was a part of a Danish team, and I was not happy.
Right.
And it might sound weird. I had a 5-year guaranteed contract. I was the captain of the team. I was playing every game, but it was just not what I wanted. Something were missing, and I didn't know Kansas City was what I was missing. But when they came in the picture, and we found the solution for me to join Kansas City, I fell in love from day one with Kansas City. The city, the team, the people. I'm very proud and happy to call Kansas City my home in America now. I've been a few places in America after I retired from playing, but Kansas City have always been home in my heart, and very, very happy to be back in the city now.
You came close, according to what I've read, to retiring before you came over to MLS and signed with Kansas City. Your team was going to be relegated from the Superliga. Maybe that was part of the dissatisfaction and everything else that was going on. How close did you come to retiring at that point in time?
Well, so close that I suspended myself from training. I didn't come to practice. I wanted a release. They didn't want to give me a release, but I didn't want to be there. And 1 week into my own suspension, if you can call it that, just come home from a workout and sat down on the couch around 2:00. No, it might be a bit later in the afternoon. I got a text message from an agent that still to this day I've never met, asking me if I had any interest in Kansas City Wizards in the MLS. I just texted back, sure. Texted back again 5 minutes later. I said, how serious is it? And he takes back, I think it's pretty serious. The coach wants to speak to you today. And as he said, Peter Ramirez called me. We had an hour conversation about Kansas City and about the MLS and about the team and everything. And he called me. No, we agreed he had got to email me a contract, and emailed me a contract. I looked it through, and I said, why not? And we just had one hiccup, and that was my current club. They wanted money for me to leave.
Right.
And I ended up paying 50% myself, and I had to take a little pay cut from what we originally agreed with Kansas City, but then they paid the rest. And, best decision I ever made in my life. For me, at that point, in the end of the day, why I started playing soccer was, I wanted to have fun. I wanted to have a good time with it. And the environment that I was in were not the best, to say it in a nice way. So joined here and founded the motivation and the fun in the game again very, very, very fast. And had 4 years, probably the 4 best years of my life on and off the field with Sporting Kansas City, and the first year Kansas City Wizards. And if I have to can go through the 4 years a little bit quickly with some headlines. 2010, we're playing Manchester United at Arrowhead, where I think soccer changed a little bit in Kansas City to the better. We had 58,000 people in the stands. I think they all came to see Manchester United give us a lesson in how soccer was supposed to be played. And you could feel, literally during the game, how the atmosphere changed. My first few games for the Wizards, they were cheering for goals and chances, but not any defending plays. But during that game, they got on their toes when shots got blocked and were under pressure. We had a man down, and Jimmy Conrad got a red card, and we were just grinding it through. And when the final whistle blew, the fans went absolutely nuts. And I think that was a change in the positive direction for soccer in Kansas City that night. 2011, rebranding, opening the new stadium. We made the conference final. 2012, making the conference final and winning the U.S. Open Cup, and 2013 winning the MLS Cup. I think those 4 years really, when you look at those headlines, that kind of speaks for itself. That was absolutely blast on and off the field for me and my family.
Yeah, flash back a little bit to your family and how you met your wife and how you started a family during your time in your home country.
Yeah. We knew each other very young, but was not dating. Started dating pretty early, and long story short, and very early age, we got a kid. It was, when I look back, it was probably a kid getting a kid. I was 20 years old, and I don't think anyone really is ready at a 20-year-old for that, but it was an absolutely blessing for all of us. And still this day, when I get mad at her, I still say you were probably the best accident in my life. But being young with your kids, also have a big upside. And my oldest, who's 23 now, she's been around and seen some and had some experience that not a lot of kids have the opportunity to do. Live in different countries and traveling around. The downside, of course, is the inconsistency in the places you are staying. Change of school all the time, and got to meet new friends all the time. But I also look on the bright side. She's a very open and outgoing person, and have a very easy to make good friends. And she had a different life than a lot of her friends. I think if you ask her and she looks back, and she had a fantastic time, and now she's a strong young woman, 23-year-old, just bought her first house, and living the dream.
More of Danny's Reasonably Irreverent podcast after this.
Most of us have experienced auto accidents, and it's no fun. And even less fun is trying to work on the insurance aspects afterwards and getting full value after an auto accident. I'm here with David Cowan from wreckexpert.com. And David, you have an unusual and important niche for people after an auto accident.
We have a passion to teach car wreck clients what they deserve. Getting your car repaired only fixes the damage and the paint. Getting paid for your car's loss in value is called diminished value. Chances are you've never heard of this before because most people aren't looking out for you. We help people collect thousands to tens of thousands of dollars for their car's loss in value after the wreck.
And if somebody wants to come to you for that, what's the original assessment cost them?
We offer a free review of any insurance claim to see how we can help.
You can't beat that. Great expertise and assistance in getting full value after an auto accident from David Cowan. Visit wreckexpert.com and learn more. Time to spend a few minutes with my good friend Jeff Dillon from Dillon's Heating and Cooling. And Jeff, what differentiates your company from others in the industry?
Plain and simple, we're honest. We have integrity, and we're going to do things right the first time. There's way too many companies out there that lie, cheat, hide things from the homeowner or customer, and we're not about that. It's kind of funny sometimes. I actually am so honest with some people, it kind of surprises them. But sometimes it's good for business, sometimes it's bad for business. But ultimately, it's the kind of business that I want to run, is an honest one.
And that family way of treating things is part of your slogan, and it's also part of one of your great features that you offer to customers.
Our slogan is like family. Our most popular maintenance plan is called the family plan. It's very similar to a lot of ones out there. The little tweak that we do to ours, 1% off for every 2 years. They have a continued maintenance plan with us. If they have a maintenance plan for 10 years, then we give them 5% off, no questions asked.
You can find out more about Dillon's Heating and Cooling and all their great range of services at dillonsheatingandcooling.com. That's Dillon's with an S. The phone number, 913-214-1343.
Hey everyone, this is Matt Llewellyn for the 23rd Street Brewery. Thank you so much for supporting local restaurants, especially through this pandemic. And you know what? We're almost through it. At the 23rd Street Brewery, we have brought in a few more tables. You can wear a mask if you want, or not. It's your choice. Other than that, we're open 11:30 every single day. So come see us at the 23rd Street Brewery in Lawrence.
We're here with Michael Barber, the CEO and founder of Microlight Corporation of America, the world leaders in laser therapy. And Michael, tell us a little bit about your product.
Our device is using a particular wavelength and power to reduce pain and swelling. My background is surgical lasers, but I've been involved with this particular device now for about the last 20 years, actually.
And I know that it works because I've had it
There
used
you go.
on me as well. And tell us about the relationship you have with your company and Canaway.
It's what I call a strategic business relationship in that Canaway, the leader in the field of the cannabinoid systems and CBD oil, but our device used in conjunction with Canaway CBD oil gives a better pain relief outcome for the patient.
And if you want to get that pain relief outcome like I did, you can reach their local representative, Sherry McCants, at 515-208-6312. That's 515-208-6312.
If you'd like to join these and other great sponsors and market your business to a growing and engaged audience, contact us at danny@dannyclinkscale.com. Look forward to hearing from you.
What was it like, do you think, for your wife to be the wife of a, very highly respected and, chronicled keeper in his home country, and obviously probably quite a famous person there? What was that like for, do you think?
Yeah, I think it was, of course, there have been ups and downs. I've not always been easy to live with. And in good and bad things, to see your husband on the front page with less positive things, and I'm talking, of course, with when I had all my gambling going on, and when that came out and became the top stories for a long time, and see your husband or your dad on the front page on all newspapers, that's not always been easy, but in the end of the day, everything we've been through, and I think the love for each other have just grown and grown and grown and grown, and here we are. We've been together for 24 years, and I'm definitely looking forward to the next 24 as well. And we had our ups and downs, of course, and I take 99.9% of that blame. But we always had each other and supported each other and been there for each other. And when I had my crap going on with all that, I had an absolutely amazing support from her and for the rest of my family. But as one of my former players that I coached, I spoke with him during the COVID, and he asked how things were doing. I said, well, it's easy. I'm home all the time, and I think my family is very lucky to have me around all the time. He said, Coach, if I can say something without offending you, I have a feeling you're a big handful to live with every single day.
That's funny. That is funny. Jimmy Nielsen is our guest, and if you want to reflect a little bit, you don't have to, on those troubles that you referenced there, and how you got involved in it and how you came out of it.
Yeah, it was it's a dangerous combination, being young, have a lot of money, and have a lot of time. Horrible combination. And it started in an early age when I joined Millwall in England. typical day, I'll be in at 8 o'clock in the training ground, but I'll also be out of there again around 11 o'clock. And then you have the rest of the day. And for me, unfortunately, and what I also know a lot of other young professionals in that time frame, a lot of that time got spent with the bookies, with the bookmakers. And, a typical day, I would be at the bookies around noon and leave late in the evening. And, very often you got home and have lost a shit ton of money. And then it just became a chase. You want to chase what you lost the day before, and then you lose 2 days in a row, and the third day you want to chase and win back what you lost the 2 days, and that just keep rolling and rolling and rolling, and then became a horrible circle and habit for me to do a lot of intense gambling for minimum 10 years. And I really had to hit rock bottom before I realized that I wanted help and needed help. And I was very lucky to be in a very good club who gave me good support. And I was in rehab 3 times. One time I did it for my wife. Second time I did it for my mom. And the third time I did it for myself. Got a good support there, and I was in rehab with this guy for 9 months, a couple of times a week, and that really helped. Gave me some tools to get at that, and it's a process, and to get on the other side and to have a life where gambling is not in the lead. To find replacements for all of that, it took time, but when I got on the other side of it, until this day today, I actually explained the story to a friend yesterday. I didn't explain the story, but he was asking into my history with the gambling. I actually said, and I still feel the same way in this conversation here. When I think about it and when I talk about it, it feels like I'm talking about another person. I'm not the person that I was back then. I've changed to hopefully the better. But it's like it's a strange person, and it doesn't feel like it's me that I'm talking about when I tell those stories. So I think that's a very positive sign. I'm completely on the other side for what's that, 16 years now. So that's not a topic in our life anymore, other than when I got to tell a few stories here and there.
That's great. Thank you very much for doing that, and I'm sure some people can learn some great lessons from that. And
listen, if I could get out of it, anyone could get out of it.
Right. That is a great message. Let's talk about the time in Kansas City. You did it in bullet point fashion, but we'll revisit it just a little bit. You came in and had such great success, and obviously were an outstanding player. You had a year where your goals against average was below 1, a couple of years like that. You set records, everything else, and the fans really took to you and called you the White Puma because of the hair. I don't know, is your hair naturally white? I don't even know that.
Oh yeah. That's been like that my whole life. And that's where the nickname came as well. We had probably been around 18, 19 in a training session back in Denmark, a shooting drill. And I'm flying around in the goal, and one of the striker is yelling that I looked like a white puma flying around in there. And for some reason, that nickname stuck with me forever. And I've been called a lot of worse things than that, so I'll take it.
What would you say, as you were developing as a player, became the hallmark of your play, your development as a keeper? What do you think your strengths were, or what do you think you had to work on to become the outstanding goalkeeper that you became throughout your career?
Yeah, there's a lot of things. It's tough to find one thing. But I think the one thing that was always a driven for me, I was always hungry. I always wanted to get better. I had good training habits. Every time I walked on the field with the mentality I wanted to get better. I also think that I was mentally strong. I never got too high. I never got too low. I never really had to rely on my confidence. If I made a mistake, I personally think I did a good job to wipe that out and continue like nothing happened. And then, of course, I would evaluate on the mistakes the day after, but then move on and use that as another motivation for that not to happen again. But constantly that drive to get better, and have good training habits I remember one time I've been in the goal where I didn't feel prepared. And it's by far the worst feeling I ever had in the 20 years I played. And I remember leaving the field, talking to myself that I'm never, ever, ever, ever going to have that feeling in the goal again. And then kind of led to those training habits going forward from there. I was ridiculous good prepared all the time, like physically, tactically, mentally as well. For everything that I walked into any stadiums or facing any opponents, I was prepared. I think that was one of the keys to the little success I had.
You had plenty of success, and as I mentioned, your career goals against average in MLS is .99. That is the best in league history for anybody who's played a significant amount of time. Both of the championships, the U.S. Open Cup in 2012 and the MLS Cup in 2013, were decided with penalty shootouts, and obviously that means the keeper is front and center. What kind of mentality do you bring to those unbelievably pressure-packed situations?
Again, preparation. And mentally, I want to get in the opponent's head. Always prepared for penalties, even in regular games, where I want to get in the head of the opponent. And I think that's we can do a whole podcast on the strategy that I use, because it's tough just to explain one thing,
right?
What I was doing. And how I prepared for it too. There's a lot of things playing into that, and I don't think Joe is long enough today for me going into to the details. But I've always been pretty decent at PKs. I have the all-time record for most safe PKs in soccer history. I felt confident going in, facing a PK. I felt confident going into a penalty shootout. Always felt that when the guy were going up to the ball, I had the upper hand, and that's a good feeling, because I also tried the opposite, and that's not funny. But that again comes into the preparation for you and how you prepare yourself. But that all being said, I think every single goalkeeper out there have their own way on PKs. And you, as a goalkeeper, got to find what works for you. Now we have Timelia in goal and with the Sporting KC, who's done an absolutely fantastic job on PKs. I think if he had to use my strategy, he wouldn't be as successful he's been on the PKs. And if I had to use Timelia's strategy, I wouldn't have the success I had on PKs. You got to find your own way, and whatever works for you.
You obviously won the championship in 2013. It's an incredible moment. Keepers can play for quite a while, and you weren't particularly old by keeper standards after that season. but at the celebration of the championship, you announced your retirement. What led to that?
I physically had a few tough years. I had meningitis twice in America. I actually had it 3 times, but 2 times in my time with Sporting Kansas City in 2011 and in 2013. And I never really recovered from it. And it's my own fault. I was at the hospital for 4 days the first time I had it. I left the hospital on a Thursday and went straight out to Swope and train, and I played on the Saturday. The second time I got the meningitis rub in Montreal, and I knew when I woke up in the morning against in Montreal on the game day that I had meningitis again. Just taking a crap ton of medicine, played through the game. I remember during the night, our trainer, Kenny, I was lying in his bed and he was just kind of massaging my head all night long. He was sitting behind me in the plane from Montreal to Kansas City and still massaging my head. And when we landed in Kansas City, I went straight to the hospital and went to the hospital again for 3-4 days. And again, the idiot I am, I'm going straight from the hospital out to Swope and train, and then I played Saturday again. Just who I was. I wanted to play. I wanted to be out there, and I would push myself to the limit, and sometimes a little bit more. And again, in the 12 years I was in Aalborg, I never missed a game in those 12 years, but at the same time, I still had 7 surgeries.
Right.
I would always push it and delay all that for off season or when we ever had a little break, so I didn't have to miss out on anything. So, in an age of 36, my body were worn out.
Right.
And after the meningitis, I struggled with migraines. I struggled badly. I had bad migraines 3-4 times a week. And again, that was a lot of medicine you have to take to keep that away. And of course, not the most healthy thing you can do for your body.
Right.
But again, I never was sitting out or missing out on anything. I wanted to be there. I wanted to play, and I wanted to compete. So, yeah, 38 were early for a goalkeeper, but my body were ready for it. And looking back, of course, it's tough to give up what you love the most and you've done the most of your life. But it was the right decision. And again, looking back, it was 100% correct, that decision I made back then, and never regretted that 1 second. But of course, it's emotional to give up what you've done your whole life, and I think being a professional soccer player is the best life you can ask for in my world. So yeah, that was the end of 4 absolutely amazing year, and my goal when I came to America was to win the championship, and I honestly think if we didn't win that penalty shootout, that I would have pushed it another year, played another year.
Right.
But looking back, it was the best ending that could happen.
Absolutely. How have you found retirement? You've done some managing. Now you're back in Kansas City with Sporting Kansas City. Tell us a little bit about the post-career journey.
Yeah, I stopped in December 2013. Went straight into coaching in Oklahoma City, a brand new franchise in the USL. I got hired there January 1st, 2014, and I was the first person to get hired in the organization. I had 3 months to get a team together, get a staff together, and everything needed around. That was a tough challenge because I didn't know anything about the USL either. And I was upfront with that, of course, with the ownership before they hired me, but they still took a chance at me, and well, I got to make 4 years, got to cut it down shortly. I think we became very successful in the 4 years I was there. And after those 4 years, I got offered a new 4-year deal, but I thought it was time for me to take a little bit of time off and look after myself. And as I mentioned, I got the meningitis again in Oklahoma City. I was at the hospital. We played Saturday. I was at the hospital Sunday and Monday, and they wanted me to stay a little bit longer, but we had a game Tuesday, so I signed myself out of the hospital Monday afternoon, and we're on the sideline Tuesday, and I was just a little bit tough on myself, and after those 4 years in Oklahoma, I thought it was time to take a year off and enjoy myself a little bit, and enjoy the family, and look after myself and take care of myself, and I did, and I think that was a great decision. And after that year, I probably made the biggest mistake I've done in my life. I joined a team on the East Coast, Hartford. Not so much with the team; it was just not going hand in hand with me and the owner from early on, and that only lasted a year. And I resigned the day after the last game. And here's a funny story. And my oldest daughter is actually in Connecticut. She didn't live with us. She lives in Oklahoma City, but she's in Hartford with us. They are retired. Not retired, resigned. And I said, what's next? What do we want to do now? I said, there might be a little chance for a time off again. I think we have the opportunity now. We can live anywhere we want in the world. We can do what we want to do. But so no one feels any pressure. We're all going to put down on a little note where we want to live, what we want to try and see. And I'm just throwing out there for fun and example. And if you want to live in Australia, write down Australia. And I got my little piece of paper, and I'm like, I'm going to write Kansas City. And I thought in my head, they're going to laugh when they see it. And we all put it down, and I'm mixing them around, and I pull out the first one, and it said KC. And I thought in my head, I was writing Kansas City, not KC. All right, I'm opening the next one, and that was down in my little slip, and it said Kansas City. I opened up the third one and said Kansas City. And I opened up the fourth one and said Kansas City. And out of any goddamn where in the world, we all picked Kansas City. And I think that just tells how much Kansas City meant for us in the time we were here. And I said, let's call the movers, and as soon as they can get here, we're going to move to Kansas City. And I think it gave us the opportunity to, I almost been everywhere in the world, but I've not seen anything. I've seen hotel rooms and I've seen soccer stadiums. So we're agreeing on taking a little trip, and the trip started off in my home country, Denmark. And I'm at a sports bar with my dad, my brother, two very close friends, watching Champions League, Liverpool, Atletico Madrid. And the screen just goes black. And we're all like, what the hell happened? And our prime minister came on the screen with breaking news that Denmark had shut down because of the COVID.
Oh, wow.
Well, that long trip we were supposed to travel became just 4 days. 4 days in Denmark. And because we became U.S. citizen, we could travel back to America. If we didn't have the citizenship, we couldn't get back to America. And the plans of traveling turned into 8 months on the couch watching Netflix.
So tell me how you spend your days now.
Well, here a month ago, I agreed on taking a job with Sporting Kansas City as the director of pro player development, where I'm kind of responsible for mentoring the players as they're making the transition from the academy into the 2 team and eventually into the first team. Kind of observing them on the field, kind of preparing them for the life of being a professional on and off the field. I have the opportunity. When you're a coach, you can't be really friends with the players. But I'm actually starting off the conversation with the players when I have that. I'm your new friend. Even if you don't like it, I'm your friend here. I'm going to push them. I'm going to challenge them. I'm going to guide them. I'm going to hold them accountable to their individual development plans. Again, I'm going to prepare them for what it takes and for what's ahead of them on and off the field. In those young guys, trying to get to know who they are, and they got to find out who they are as well. And again, kind of just overall what's expected from them when they make the move from the 15 to the 17, from the 17 to the 19, from the 19 into Sporting Kansas City 2, and from the 2 team into the first team. Going to hold their hand to a certain point. I'm not a fan, of course, holding their hand all the way. They got to get out there and execute and learn to do it by themselves. But I'm there. I'm there to pick them up when they fall, and I'm there to pull them down when they get too high.
That is a fantastic answer. It's been quite a ride for you, obviously. A lot of successes, a lot of challenges, as we've heard here, and you've really delineated them so much. But that ride seems to have come to a very satisfying point here in Kansas City. It's been quite a ride, hasn't it?
It's been a heck of a ride. It's been a fun ride. Of course, I have made some stupid decision in my life. But again, I think it all have led me to where I am today as a person, and I couldn't ask for a better place to be. And my family having again our second time here in Kansas City, and those 4 little slips that we made in Hartford, I think they turned out to be the correct decision for all of us.
This podcast was made possible by our great sponsors like
Easton Roofing, the presenting sponsor of Kansas City Profiles at the Danny Kling Scale Reasonably Irreverent podcast. Easton Roofing, where integrity matters.
We hope you enjoyed the latest Danny Kling Scale Reasonably Irreverent podcast. Come back soon for something fresh and new.